1931. In recent years, through growth and expansion, we've taken that same local community spirit into other markets. Today, with over 20,000 customers across Tennessee, our business philosophy remains the same. Local people making local decisions, serving our friends and customers, and investing in the communities that we serve. Here for you yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Apex Bank of Camden, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Operation 7570 on this, the last Saturday in July, as we get ready to begin August, this coming Monday. And, of course, that's also going to be the first day of school, and therefore we have live in our studios today. This is Director of Schools, Mark Florence. Mr. Florence, thank you for getting up and being with us today. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you having me, Flash, as always. We appreciate the support the radio station and you give our school system.
Well, we appreciate you and all the staff, and I'm going to tell you, you and your staff, even during the summer months, the last couple of 8 weeks or so since the last school term ended, there's been a lot of activity going on, even during, it's not an off season, but you had a lot of work going on during the summer months.
Summer's become quite busy, especially with summer camp. So school ends middle of May, and then in the 1st of June, we start summer camp for 4 straight weeks. So several of our teachers, and I think we had 480 students sign up for summer camp. And so it's been really busy. And then our maintenance staff and custodial staff have done a wonderful job of getting our schools ready for the new school year. And then, as you know, you've been attending some of the in-services in the last few weeks. So I would say summer definitely is the most busiest time at central office for sure.
You've had some outstanding speakers during your staff development, professional development, or in-service, I guess the old term we call it now. But, hey, there's been some activity there the last couple of weeks, and there have been some great speakers there.
Really, our supervisors, administrators, they do a great job of bringing in speakers that, number one, hopefully will motivate our teachers, number two, give them some ideas in the classroom to help motivate our students and give them the best opportunity to have a great education.
Well, we saw Mr. Steve Spangler, I guess, a week ago yesterday, and that gentleman, he's known nationally and across the world, as a matter of fact, been on a lot of television shows, has a couple of Emmys, and he was very entertaining, and the teachers learned just as much as I think that they're going to transfer that into the students right now, and very fortunate to get somebody like him with such a great reputation.
Absolutely, and special thanks to Miss Betty Jordan and our BOLD grant, and that was an opportunity that we probably would never have if it wasn't the funds from that federal literacy grant that we received 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago now. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see but about 15 minutes of it, and I'd never actually heard of Steve Spangler, and the supervisors are going, Mr. Florence, we got Steve Spangler coming. He's been on Ellen, and I think you summed it up from all the emails and the texts that I've received from teachers is just wow. Everybody said by far the best in-service they'd ever attended. So that's great. And to see our teachers and the energy they have at the beginning of school is just exciting.
And up on his social media pages, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, he had photographs that he and his assistant, Brian Higgins, had taken of their day here in Camden, and that speaks well. You know, he speaks at national conferences and seminars in regards to education throughout the course of the year, national television host, and hey, to have that type of a man to come in, it really, really speaks well, and thank you and Betty Jordan and everybody for bringing such a...
Flash, I'll just say our teachers deserve it.
Absolutely. Well, school is starting back on August the 1st this week, Mr. Florence. It's an early start, and back in medieval times when I was a student, we may have started late in August or, maybe into early September, but why such an early start now at this time of the year for the school system?
I've had that question a lot here lately, especially this year we try to start the first Wednesday in August. The main reason it starts early, we now have to get 180 instructional days in, and of course state testing's at the end of April, so by the time you put fall break and Christmas break and spring break, we run out of days pretty quick. So we try to start that first week of August. This year we started on a Monday instead of a Wednesday because the election's Thursday. So we're going to start and we'll go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and then school will be out Thursday and Friday. So we'll still have that short week. I think our teachers and students really need that to start with a short week, and then we'll come back on Monday the 8th for the first full week of school.
And speaking of election, that is next Thursday, and I think today is the last day to vote by early voting method. If you want to do that, I think the Election Commission is open from now until 12 o'clock. So if you think you're not going to be able to vote in person next Thursday, by all means get down and see those folks at the Election commission today. And I know you encourage people to get out and exercise their right.
Absolutely, and that early voting's the one of the best things ever. I remember used to we only could do absentee voting, but now being able to go up and vote early gives everybody that chance to go vote if they can't make that election day, and obviously a great right that we have, and encourage everybody to get out and vote. Very important election.
Well, Mr. Florence, I had this on down in my talking points today, but with school starting back August the 1st, let's just go ahead and get it out of the way. What do people need to know, parents and students alike, the entire community, even if you don't have kids in school right now? What do we need to know about the first day of school this Monday?
Well, I think the first thing is patience, because, when you bring over 2,000 students back to school, and a lot of new, whether it's a kindergarten or first grade student, or maybe that first day of freshman year, a lot of anxiety, a lot of excitement, a lot of traffic, especially around the Camden schools. So I would just say, please be patient. There will be some glitches as always, but just be patient. 8 o'clock, we'll have all the kids in the classroom, and they'll be eating breakfast, and pay attention to those big yellow buses. We're not in that big a hurry. It's amazing just in our little county how many reports we have of people running a stop sign when somebody's baby stepping off that bus. So just please, I think the main thing is be patient. Be patient with your students. Be patient with our teachers. Be patient with the administrators. And then on the reverse, be patient with our parents, because that's a top priority to keep those kids safe. And so main thing is that first day is please just be patient.
Do you have a lot of new personnel coming in to our school systems, to our schools across the county this year, Mr. Florence?
I would say records, Flash. I know we have 15 new teachers, which I think prior to this year, 11 was the biggest number we'd had. And I'm starting my 9th year as director of schools, and I think we have 12 new support staff employees. So probably the largest turnover we've had, but a lot of that is we've had positions that we hadn't been able to fill, and we've filled a few of those. So not total turnover. We've had several retirements, over I think about 9 retirements. So a big turnover, but we're really excited about our new personnel. I went to new teacher training, a lot of excitement down there. So we're excited for them to be part of our school family.
And I know this week as well, the schools had open house. I was out at Briarwood on Thursday, of course, and they welcomed the parents, and I think it's going to be a great year.
I agree, Flash. We're praying hard that it's back to normal. Last year we were all excited, and then COVID stuck his head out again and kind of slowed us down. But I think we're going to have close to a normal school year, and we're excited about that.
And one of the things also that took place this week, the first part of the week, the school clinic that has opened up with the partnership with the Friends at West Tennessee Healthcare, Tara Roberts out there. And tell me more about the partnership and how the school clinic come about.
Okay, well, it's probably 2018, for sure before COVID. Miss Kayla Mills, our head nurse, and her team come to me and said, I think they'd been to a conference. Some way they'd heard about Milan's has a school clinic. And so they asked if that would be a possibility. And I said, well, let's look into it and see what we can do. And so I can say this, I'm a little partial, but I wouldn't trade any of our 5 nurses. They're just outstanding. So they had a dream to have a school clinic. So they went, Miss Kayla, and I think Whitney Key went. I'm not sure Bridget, but I know a couple of them went and visited Milan, seen what they had, and so that gave them an idea to start the clinic, and then reached out to West Tennessee Healthcare, which Milan also partners with. And so representatives from West Tennessee Healthcare came in, met with Kayla and I. We kind of got it started, presented it to the board. The board really liked the idea. Up jumps COVID. And so if there's one positive that come out of COVID, the funding from a grant that the state sent out for health facilities was instrumental in that. It cost us nothing to remodel that classroom into a clinic, and you've been there. It's amazing. And so no cost to the taxpayers. I think we would have went ahead with the clinic as well, but so the only cost to the school system is we provide a receptionist, and Miss Amy Baker's doing that, and then West Tennessee Healthcare hired Tara, which we considered Tara part of our school family anyway, since David and Laura had worked for us over the years. So we're just excited, and I think one day this week we had 18. So we're patients in the clinic, so that's outstanding. We're able to help our athletes, and maybe if they're on vacation during their drug screens or physicals, Miss Tara can take care of that at the clinic. And then once school starts, that's an opportunity. If parents have students that are sick or not feeling well, they can call and make an appointment, or they can go in before school starts and Miss Tara see them. So it's just a great addition to our school system that we're really excited about.
Now, the school nurses and Tara and Amy, they're going to work hand in hand closely with each other, but Amy and Tara, they're actually employees of West Tennessee Healthcare, I believe, and the school nurses are still employees of the county school system.
Amy is our employee. Amy is our employee, and then Tara is hired through West Tennessee Healthcare. Yes.
So, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Our part of the partnership is provide the facilities and provide the receptionists.
And one thing that Tara pointed out, and we put this in the newspaper this week, she stressed it to the parents or guardians before she sees a child out there, even if they have to come down from the office to see her for something at the clinic out there, before the child is going to be treated, she's going to contact the parents.
They are. That's been a concern, but we've tried to reassure all parents that, number one, they'll have to sign a consent form, but even if the parent signs a consent form, then we would still, once they get to the clinic, if they're, obviously if they're kindergarten to grades 3 or 4, it's going to be, the parent's going to have to come get them. But if they're at the clinic and the parent gives us permission, then we'll see them. But we still, even with a consent form, we'll still reach out to that parent.
Well, I know, this past Monday, West Tennessee Healthcare, they had a lot of their personnel from the corporate office in Jackson there, and one of the ladies in attendance was Ruby Kirby, who is the CEO out here at Camden General right now. And she pointed out, and I hadn't thought of this, she pointed out, that if it's just routine, a child goes down there, they can go back to class, whereas in the past, when a child was taken out of school for a doctor's appointment, he or she may not have come back. So this can help attendance.
Sure. And that's exactly the idea behind school clinics for students and staff. We now have a place for them to go, and if it's just a cold or sinus, Miss Tara can see them, and we can go on the class instead of going home and missing instruction. One thing I think is important is our clinic does not take over for a primary care physician. It's just to help our students and staff in the event they're ill in the morning before school. The clinic will operate during school, the same school schedule.
Okay, all right then. And of course, we talked about grants and how important that is, and because of the grants that have come down from the federal sources that we're talking about, you've been able to do a lot of things in the school system that otherwise couldn't have been done.
We have. We've put new roofs on Camden Central High School and Big Sandy School. We're, along with all HVAC units, that was about a $2.5 million project. That opened up the door. We're having to put a new floor at Big Sandy. We're not using federal funds for that, but the relief funds obviously helped ease that, because then we had those funds available to put that new gym floor in. We've also redone the gym floor at Camden Central High School, and then we have a few other projects going on. And if you drove by the central office, you've noticed that we're putting an addition in. That's going to be a learning center, a conference room, a place for distance learning, and as well a place big enough to have school board meetings, about 1,500 square feet of conference room. Then there'll be a couple offices in that room, and that's all paid for by federal relief funds.
So this means you've run out of room over at the central office in your existing facility.
We definitely have. And the basement is what the supervisors, we're going to call it their book barn, because all week our supervisors have been out in the maintenance building where it's 90 plus in the shade, distributing textbooks. And so we're going to get a nice, comfortable place to store our textbooks, so we'll be able to distribute them at least with some comfort.
Yeah. We've talked about Miss Betty Jordan and the role she plays in the Benton County school system. She's invited me out there Monday morning to see the new van that was possible through this bold grant again. And tell me what this van will be all about.
Okay. Well, the literacy grant, I think this is the last year of our literacy grant. So when that grant, we had the opportunity 3 years ago, and we received that $1.5 million. And so the basis of it was to bring literacy, to improve literacy in our county. So what we have done over the years, we have mailed books to all students in Benton County during the summer. Miss Betty and her team has been at food drops handing out books to kids as the families come through, and Betty's done a great job of just making sure that our kids understand the importance of literacy. So with these funds, Betty asked if we could buy a van, and she's painted it up, and you'll see it Monday. And so we're going to use that to distribute books to students. We may take them to their home if they're sick. We may, food drops, the van will be there. We do home visits. We may take the van and give the students books. So it's just a way to hopefully get kids excited. I think Miss Betty said she wants to be the ice cream truck of books. So when kids see her coming, they're excited about reading. So that's the story behind the van.
Well, I was actually out there at Briarwood on Friday, no, I guess it was Thursday when I was out there and saw it at a glance and asked one of the teachers, "What is that? Is that an ice cream truck?" And I said, "No." And I said, "Oh, this is what Betty called me about." So I'll see more about that on Monday. But I also heard this week at the Lions Club meeting, Daniel Armstrong came in and talked about, his role in the school system and the federal grant money that comes into Benton County. And he pointed out, you've got to be careful what you use grant money for, but pretty well, most of the grant money goes back for the benefits of the students in our system.
Absolutely, Flash. We've received $9 million in ESSER funds, and there's 3 stages. ESSER 1's, we've completed it. ESSER 2 has to be spent by the end of this year, 2023, and then ESSER 3, which was the largest pot, has to be spent by the end of 2024. So we've used we've added teachers for classroom reduction. We're now 1-to-1, which means we have a laptop for every student, grades 3-12. We do not distribute them home unless, maybe a child's sick or on homebound, then we'll send those home. But we do have computers available for all our students. We have interactive boards we're still working on. We've purchased them, but we're still trying to get them delivered and get them to the classroom, so all teachers will have an interactive board. So tutoring, after school tutoring, we've really amped that up with the federal dollars. So, and Daniel has been a great addition to our staff in taking care of ESSER, and it may not be the appropriate time, but our central office staff, they're a special bunch, and I just want to thank them. But we have worked hard. It's on our website where we've distributed those funds, but we try to make all these decisions to do what's best for our students, and that's the way all our decisions should be. And but a lot of money that had to be allocated in a quick period of time, so we have adjusted some of that. But Daniel and our team's done a great job of using those funds to benefit our students to the best of our ability.
And these supervisors that you're talking about over at the Board of Education central office with you, they may not be in the classroom as a teacher as such now. They've had classroom experience, of course, most of them have, but hey, they care for the well-being and the benefit of the child just like a classroom teacher does.
Yes, I would say our supervisors were the best of the best in the classroom. Chad Douglas does our attendance and transportation. Best art teacher I've seen, very talented. Joey Christopher's now doing special ed, outstanding special ed teacher. Linda Phelps, I don't think I need to, is the best science teacher that I've seen. Brandy Milner, I pick on her a lot, but by far her and Mr. Hughes, we talk about as math teachers, and then Amy Davis, and then Miss Lori Cantrell. She's also a supervisor with our RTI program, and then Daniel. So all of them outstanding in the classroom, and they work hard to make sure our teachers have the best resources they can to make sure our students receive the absolute best education that we can provide them.
And thanks to their efforts and to others within our Board of Education system, of course, had a nice award that came down, I think, in February? All district, best all district?
Yeah, that was based on going back to where we distribute our federal funds. We're just, we spent, I think we had to spend, Daniel will get me, but I think it's 20% on reading and student improving test scores and that sort of thing, and so that we spent that on tutoring, and so that was a best for all district. I may be wrong on the percentage, but we had to we had to spend a certain percent of money on making sure we were doing tutoring and learning loss work to be part of that. So that's the reason we were the best for all district. I think there were 60 of us in the state.
Okay, well, congratulations on that and everyone that had a role in that. Well, time's getting away from us, ladies and gentlemen, and it's time to hear from our sponsor, our good friends at Apex Bank. So after this message, we'll be back with the second portion of Operation 7570. Stay with us.
For more than 85 years, Apex Bank of Camden has built a tradition of local people serving local people. Although there have been changes over the years, this one thing remains the same. Hometown people that are your friends serving you every day to meet your financial needs. We want to see you grow and prosper. And when you ever have a need, you'll get personal attention right here at home, not in some far-off corporate office. Number one in customer service. Apex Bank of Camden, Benton County's best bank, member FDIC, equal housing lender.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Operation 7570 on this Saturday morning. Our Director of Schools, Mark Florence, is live in our studios with us today. Of course, schools will be starting back in Benton County this coming Monday, and at the end of the program, we'll go over some of the things that Mr. Florence emphasized at the first of the program so we can get you all set to go with the start of the 2022-23 school year. Mr. Florence, I know what's on the minds of a lot of parents and students, of course, and you as educators take this very seriously, and that's the role of security and safety within our schools in Benton County. And I know recently there was some training in that regard over at our school system.
Yeah, I know Sheriff Christopher and his team, they had some active shooter training at the high school after hours. I think gentlemen from Dixon County came in and they trained, and I know Mr. Phelps, our safety coordinator, went down, and he said it was very productive training.
And, of course, not just for law enforcement with the role they would play, but, you know, you have these other emergency responders out there, fire departments, EMS, and, you know, other agencies that we typically don't associate with law enforcement, but they are commissioned officers, folks down the park rangers, TWRA. So if this was to ever happen, heaven forbid it won't, and we hope and pray it never does, you've got to be prepared. But they would all have a role in this situation.
Absolutely. And Mr. Phelps does a great job of coordinating that. Since you brought up school safety flash, I just want to, let the community know. I know there's a lot of, since the tragedy in Texas, a lot of concern, a lot of talk about our school resource officers. And, over the last 2 or 3 years, there has been grant funds for SROs, but, it's been very difficult to find police officers, very difficult to find SROs. So unfortunately, we had to send those funds back to the state, but no one's fault. I mean, the sheriff and the chief, they tried to find officers, whether it be not being able to find officers or maybe not, even though we had a grant, maybe not enough funding, but I know there's been a lot of trouble finding officers, but we will continue to work towards that. I can assure you that the school system and the law enforcement and whoever's involved, the cities, we're going to do everything we can to make sure our schools are safe for our students. In the last 9 years, we've added access doors. We have cameras throughout the system. We've hired safety specialists. Steve Phelps is a retired TBI agent. Steve takes his position very serious. Just went out to Denver to the National SRO Conference, has some great contacts. So we're working every day to make sure that our schools are as safe as possible. As I tell parents, I wish I could tell you that everything's going to be okay, but that's not true in life. We just have to do the absolute best we can and make sure we're prepared if something does happen. On the note of safety, we're going to not allow visitors again this year, which is something that's very difficult, but we just feel like that's the best and the safest thing for our students and our staff at this time. We will have special days for, parents to come in, kind of like orientation, to see what's going on in the school. So we're looking at this very serious. There's access doors at all schools. There's panic buttons at all schools, and I have talked to the sheriff and George, and until we can get officers in sight, we encourage them to send the officers by the schools and visit and just make sure that we're paying attention to that.
And as these folks from Dixon PD emphasized that day, Sheriff Christopher and George, of course, if you see something, regardless of how small, it might be, by all means, report that.
Absolutely, and it's over the time, we've had parents maybe see a car that just doesn't look right, and they'll call us, and we report it to police. Most of the time, everything's okay, but we've had a couple of times where it was very important that they reported that. So don't ever be, always report it. Then we'll have law enforcement check into it. But I think the main thing is we know what to do, but we don't let that, downplay all the good that's going in our school system, because there's so many good things going on, and we take safety very serious, but we want to make sure our kids receive a safe and great education.
Absolutely. Well, Mr. Florence, moving on, at the top of the program, you talked about personnel changes coming into the Benton County school system this year, some new personnel. We wish them very well. Be seeing them from time to time, of course. But the things that you've experienced, with personnel changes, people retiring, leaving the profession, is it common now in other systems, adjoining systems, or, statewide now? Because we hear a lot on the news about, seasonal teachers, longtime educators leaving the profession for various reasons.
It's funny you say that. We were talking about that as a staff yesterday. We're in uncharted waters. I mean, we're having trouble finding teachers. We highly encourage our students, because I've said since the day that we were brought in as a team at central office, we have to get our students interested in education and go get that education degree and come back to Benton County, because those are the ones that are probably going to stay with us. But the teacher shortage, employee shortage is real. I mean, there's systems in the Nashville area that are 150 teachers short, and we just don't have a lot of candidates coming out of the university. So it's a little disheartening, because it's a great profession. I mean, you have to be called to do it, but we have some great teachers here in Benton County, and I think politics have played a little role in that. I don't want to get into politics, but I think our teachers have been some things have been said that's very unfair, and those people that believe that, I just wish they'd see what I see every day, and how hard our teachers are working and what they're doing to make sure our kids have a great education. And so we're going to keep telling everybody how great our teachers are, because that's a fact, and but it is a real problem, and I wish I could say that it was perfect, but I think we have 4 positions we hadn't filled in Benton County, which is unheard of.
Now, is there a move underway, or I didn't read all the article or saw it up on a TV website the other day, about maybe if a retired teacher wants to come back into a system right now, that perhaps they could come back and still have all the benefits they do as a retiree?
Well, they did pass a law this year that if a teacher retires and they want to come back and teach, they can retire and draw 70% of their pay. And then so that's different. In the past, they could only come back and work a 100-day or 120-day contract, and then so that's a little bit of a change. And then we also we've contracted with a couple of retired teachers, so they can retire and then they can come back and contract to our company that we use for substitutes and fill that role. So we're having to look at several different options to fill the classroom.
Well, at this particular point in time, we've talked about teachers, but staff support personnel. I'm talking like bus drivers, teachers' aides in the classrooms, folks like that. Is there a need for that in Benton County?
You're talking about the heart of our school system.
Okay.
They do an outstanding job. Yes, we've actually filled all of our support staff, I think, but one custodian. But the last 2 or 3 years, we've had a lot of problems filling those roles. Those people are so important, and we pride ourselves on saying we're a family. And if you go visit our schools, I don't think you'll find any cleaner and more inviting, and they deserve all that credit. I mean, they take a lot of pride, our maintenance staff, our custodians, and they really do an excellent job. Our teacher assistants, our lunch rooms, I try to eat lunch at the schools a few times a week, and they work so hard, and they're teachers, Flash. We're all teachers, and I think sometimes we forget that. Everybody in our school system that's an employee touches a kid's life, and so it's a very important role. School bus drivers, probably the biggest issue nationwide. We have been very fortunate. We've had 3 bus drivers move into our community, great, outstanding people, and we're looking forward to them driving for us and taking care of our students.
teachers and personnel of the Benton County system, they get a lot of support, not just from the parents out there, Mr. Florence, but various businesses from time to time will do something special for our teachers. No, that's very much appreciated.
Flash, I'm not going to start naming businesses because I'll leave somebody out. It is absolutely a miracle what our community does to support our school system. I mean, they feed our new teachers at training. They, provide lunch for different events. They give to the band, the quarterback club, all the boosters. So our small community, even though we may be small and not economically as strong as some, I wouldn't trade the support we have in our community for any, because they really go way beyond. I'm dear friends with a lot of directors, and I just know how special our community is and what they give to our school system, and we do appreciate that, and our students are definitely working hard to make sure that we put those funds to good use.
And this past year, and it's going to happen again this year, we have students who have excelled in a particular area. They've gone to different club meetings, like out at the FPL Center out there. They've gone to maybe a DECA convention, Office Education Convention, FFA, and other things. They just excel. Kids excel on state and national levels.
Our students, they work extremely hard. And we were talking about it the other day. When I was in school in the 80s, we heard the negative too, but I always like to tell everyone 98% of everything going on in our schools is very positive, and that includes our students, and we need to remember that. But you're talking about, I know Miss Karen Gauthier, she's retired, but the esports, they come and talk to the board about that. I mean, they were nationally ranked, which I didn't know what an esport was until Miss Karen was telling me about it. Will Douglas has won 2 state championships, and then we get the news that Ellie Reynolds signs a division or commits, not signs, with Wisconsin to play tennis. So just a lot of amazing things going on.
And I want Ellie and Will to come in here sometime in the next few weeks and have a conversation with them about their particular sport. Then, of course, we emphasize the big sports, baseball, football, and basketball. Softball, of course, very important. But these sports that may not get the attention, boy, we got some outstanding kids there.
We do. And, we got some outstanding coaches in all sports that, number one, they want to make sure our student athletes become great adults, and that's the number one role. We want to win a bunch of games, but when high school's over, we want to make sure that they learn the values to be an outstanding citizen. And I think we have a great coaching staff that makes sure that happens.
By the way, you mentioned it a moment ago. What is an e-sport?
Well, now you put me on the spot. I know it's some kind of computer gaming, and Miss Karen Gauthier has developed a team. Even though she's retired, she's going to come back and continue to work with those students. And I think they were ranked. I know they were ranked in the top 10. They worked through Bethel. Bethel helped them some. I know we talking about community support. I think we had some community businesses that let them come in and work at their facility. So I think there were 4, but there may have been more. But it's a competitive where the computer games, and so they were some of the best in the country.
Well, Luke could be good at that because I've seen him back there on his NASCAR driving up on the computer then. So, Luke, you need to get involved with these sports. Okay, yeah. Well, Mr. Florence, what are we missing this morning about that we need to stress to the parents and the kids right now in the community?
Well, I don't think I can't think of anything we're missing. Just, again, as I stressed earlier, just be patient on Monday as we get ready to start back to school. Pay attention to our website. We try to keep that up to date as much as possible. The local paper, we run an ad in there with all the things that will be happening coming this week. And then, don't hesitate to call our schools or central office if you have a question. We'll do our best to give you the answer. If we can't find it, then we will look it up and call you back.
Okay, all right. And once again, with school starting out this coming Monday, be careful in those school zones, buses, the speed limit in the school zone right now. George and his staff will be out all day. And
leave your cell phone to the side. That is a big no-no in school zones, and we see that often.
Yeah. Well, we mentioned the fact schools are out on Thursday and Friday. Thursday's election day. Schools will be out the next day. And as we get later into the month of August, the first part of the school year, will you be out like on days like Labor Day again and maybe Fair Day?
We are. I'm not looking at the calendar. I know it's that the fair, I think, is the 26th. I may be wrong. It's that last Friday in August, and then the following week, I think it's the following week, we'll be out that Friday. I think that's yard sale day, and then Labor Day. So we do have a day at the end of August for the fair, and then the Friday and Monday for Labor Day.
And as we get on into the fall, as we get on into the first part of the term for this year, of course, I'm sure there'll be a fall break coming up like always.
It is. I think fall break, I'm not looking at the calendar. I think it starts the 10th, October 10th. I know it's right in that. It's that second Monday of the month, and we'll be off that week. And that's always a well-deserved break for our students and staff.
And we appreciate everybody, and I know the teachers are anxiously looking forward to welcoming all these kids, and that's just a great sight to see, when those elementary kids come and, greeted by the teachers, and they do an outstanding job greeting these, all schools do, greeting their new students and students coming back, but at the elementary level, that first level, Mr. Florence, really something special about that.
It is. Our friend Travis Pierce, he talks about, makes him want to come to work every morning. Miss Christie and her staff at the Camden Elementary do a great job of making school fun. But, we always say, you have to love them to teach them, but you also have to challenge them for them to learn. So, we're a blessed community with great teachers, great employees, and most importantly, our students and our parents and community with their great support, and we just look forward to a great school year.
And you touched on it right there, and it comes to mind last week with Mr. Spangler's remarks out at the school. I talked to Betty after that, and of course, yes, teachers have a curriculum. They have a curriculum, statewide curriculum. They have to teach these kids that. We know that. But at the same time, as Mr. Spangler pointed out, you want to give these kids experiences, and you want to give them opportunities to learn and develop their own interest and talents, for the future. You've got to teach them something more than what they see in the textbook.
Absolutely, and that's a sticky point sometimes, and autonomy is something that we hear a lot, and we want to make sure that we don't, take that away from our teachers. There are standards that we have to follow, and we make sure that we do that, but we also want to make sure that, our students get a lot of work in areas that they enjoy, because if you don't like school, then it's awful hard to get them motivated to go. So we got to make sure we strike their interest and make sure school's fun for them.
And as you mentioned a while ago, any questions, call the central office, call your kids' local schools, whether that's in Holiday or Big Sandy here in the Camden area, of course. And a good way to keep up with activities is up on your Facebook page and, your regular website.
Yeah, Doctor, we've talked about this for years, but Dr. Shannon has took our website and took it to a new level, and we really appreciate his work. So anything happening at our school, we, Dr. Shannon makes sure that that's on there. We're also looking at other avenues to even promote our school system more. So we'll continue to improve our communications, and that's another area where, parents in the community can let us know, hey, if you're not getting the information you need, let us know, and we'll do our absolute best to improve that.
Well, Mr. Florence, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Are you going to hit the golf course today?
I'm probably not going to today. Probably going to work. I was in Houston all week, so just got back late Thursday night, so probably work a little bit today and stay around the house. Might try to play a little tomorrow afternoon after church.
Yeah, and I think the big golf tournament's coming up next week down there.
It is, and that's a great event for our community. Brings a lot of people in. Since I've been director of schools, I hadn't played in it very often because it's always the week that school starts, but it is a great thing for our community.
And that reminds me, these past Mondays, during the time that school's been out, on Mondays, Jeff Piskus is going down there with some more fine adult leaders, and they've been having a youth golf league, and that's been very beneficial. Wow.
It has flashed, and I hadn't had the opportunity to go down, but obviously golf's very important to me. I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you if it wasn't for that golf course and the values that I developed there, and never would have went to college if it hadn't been for golf. So athletics very important to me, and we really appreciate Jeff working with our students and introducing them to the best game of all, in my opinion.
And as these kids get older, they're going to have more of appreciation for it, and I think this will enhance our golf team at the high school level in a few years.
There's no question that it will, and we need more youth out there playing golf. And you can't, we've had state champion football teams that had golfers on it, so you can play golf in other sports. So it's exciting to see some of our students get involved and play golf.
And we want to wish Stephen Vick all the best as he takes over interim head coaching job at volleyball at Union.
Yeah, good luck to Stephen's done a great job of building our program here in volleyball, and we hope to continue that. But best of luck to Stephen at Union and all the support he's given our school system over the years.
And good luck to our friend Jennifer Pierce as she comes in with our volleyball program this year. She's going to do a great job with those kids.
She is, and one of our new teachers, Andrea Markham, which is Brian Markham. Remember Brian? Yes. I think she's going to help Jennifer, so I think we have a good team put together there for our girls in volleyball.
Well, Mr. Florence, thank you for coming in. I appreciate it. Give our love and best to Millette and all your family, and we'll check with you from time to time during the course of the school year. And as you know, if you have any things going on, just let us know. We need to talk to the public. Let Luke or me know, and we'll get the information out.
Okay, Flash, and you mean what you say, because you're always at any event that we have, and as I always say, thanks to the radio station, the newspaper, and special thank you to you for all you do for our school system and making sure the positive things that are going on are out in the public, and we really appreciate you, and we consider you part of our school family as well.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's our program this morning on Operation 7570. Our thanks to Director of Schools Mark Florence as school opens up for the coming year this Monday, so be careful when traveling those school zones. Thanks for being with us. We'll see you next Saturday morning.
Apex Bank of Camden proudly